Hey everybody, this is a short video highlighting a new feature that we at Suite Engine have added to Channel Sales Manager. This feature involves using Business Central's standard notification functionality to alert you, our partners, and end users of changes that are made to our extensions and any actions that you may need to take in response to those changes. So before I get into showing it, just a little bit of background. The idea here is that when we release a new version of a CSM extension, there's always the potential for us to be introducing a change to an existing process. And we're always adding new features and functionality. And in some cases, we may put in a new field, for example, that supersedes an old one, or a new feature. We may, for example, we have a lot of default API mappings that exist. Well, maybe we remove or deprecate a field from a table that was part of a mapping, and we introduce a new field to replace it. Well, that mapping needs to be updated. So that mapping needs to no longer map to old field 100, but rather new field 200. And if we introduce this new version of the extension and you download it for the first time, you're fine because you're bringing this to a clean environment. But if you were working with an older version of the extension and now you bring in this updated version, you will still have that old legacy mapping, for example, to use that example, in your system. And now the system is using this new one. It's using this new field or whatever the case may be that we've introduced. If you're not aware of that change and you don't take the appropriate action, something will not work in the way in which you're expecting. So with every release of CSM, we always do produce release notes, and they always do include any sort of upgrade instructions that might exist. But some of the feedback we've received is that they're not always, they don't always get read, they're not always accessible, that type of a thing. So what we've done is we've again used Business Central's standard notifications functionality to provide you with the information you need directly within Business Central itself. So let's take a quick look at the setup and then we'll see it in action. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open the CSM setup page. I could do that. I'm on the CSM Role Center. I can get to it right from there. But if you're not using the CSM Role Center, you can always just use standard search. I'll do that here. And we have a new fast tab here called notifications, and we have this Boolean field called enable CSM notifications. I'm going to turn that on. And now I'm going to go to the user setup page. And in here, we have this receive CSM notifications field, and I'm going to check that for the user. Again, I'm just one user in here, the admin user. But what this allows you to do is it gives you some flexibility and some power in that you can determine which users in your Business Central environment are going to receive these notifications. So again, in my case, I just have the one user, so I've configured that. Okay. What I'm now going to do is log out of Business Central, and then I'm going to log back in. So all of the notifications that we provide are included as part of a separate notification table. As part of our release process, we will make a determination as to whether or not any notifications are necessary from an upgrade perspective. And to be clear, this is not expected to be a common occurrence. I mean, it's pretty rare where we introduce this level of a change where it's going to require some sort of activity. So it's not something we're expecting to have these upgrade notifications as part of every release. The overall expectation is that they will be few and far between. But if we do make that determination, we will add that notification to this table as part of the release. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to install the new version into Business Central. And if there is a new notification in there, it will appear in the role center of any users that has been identified as receiving CSM notifications. And you'll see I have this right here. So here's my role center, and I now have this new line saying CSM upgrade notification, updates require attention. And I can click here to open up this notification table. This table, by the way, you can also get to at any time through standard Business Central search. So if you ever just want to look at a list of the notifications that exist, you can do so. Yeah, the access through the role center only occurs for those users who are, again, assigned that particular option in the user setup screen. And so here's the notification. This is just a sample test, notification that we have in here, but it should give you a general idea of what you might see. So basic information about which application is it, what's the version, a little little description. In some cases, it may be purely informational. In other cases, we may indicate that there's an action required on your part. So there's something that you need to do. And again, we will include the information as part of this notification. It may be very simple and straightforward, and maybe there's just a little piece of text in the additional information field. In some cases, it may be more complex, too complex for Business Central. So what we have this how-to instructions URL. This allows us to link to something like a blog post or a how-to video that walks through whatever the process is going to be. You can click this how-to instructions action, and it will basically launch the URL here. And again, this is just a video we have on obtaining BigCommerce credentials, so it's not really relevant to the notification. This is just for testing purposes. We add that. If there's a particular page in which you need to perform the activity, that will also be mentioned here. And you have this open page action, which you can launch, and this will open up, again, whichever page is specified here. And that's really it. That's how you work with them. Obviously, the specifics of what exactly it is you need to do are going to vary from event to event. When you're done, one final thing I'll note is we have this action taken option. So as long as there are any notifications where we don't have action taken, users will continue to receive the ribbon every time they log into Business Central. So I'll log out and log back in again. And you'll see again, I'm getting this notification saying that there's something I need to do. So the final kind of part of the process is whenever you've done whatever it is that's required of you in order to fulfill the conditions of the change, we recommend checking this action taken field. Because when I check that, it'll put some basic information in here showing who stated it was completed and the time. But if I now log out a third time and come back in, now I'm not getting that notification in my role center because at this point, all of the upgrade notifications in my system have been marked as having had action taken against them. And again, you can still always get to this table through standard search. So if you need to look at anything that's been done in the past, any instructions, that is still accessible to you. Um, the only um, the only time you will see this in a role center is if any of the notification lines have not been marked as having had action taken. And that's really it. It's not a major feature, but hopefully it will assist you, again, our user or our partner, in being up to date on any changes that you need to make as part of a new uh, uh, upgrade to the latest version of your installed CSM extensions. Thank you so much, and have a great day.